Okay, I'm so glad you get here. It's really good to see you. And in the audience, welcome to the conversation. A pleasure to welcome to the program Leslie Schwartz. He's a, well, he is a Holocaust survivor, and he's from Hungary originally, and he's a very interesting person who we're going to be talking about his life's experiences and things that continue in that very interesting life, and to helping to educate people about some of the implications of the Holocaust and in its aftermath. And Leslie, welcome so very, very much to Conversation. It's good to see you here on the set.
Thank you very much, Harold. It is really my great pleasure to meeting with you before I leave to my journey to Germany, where they're doing a documentary film, and I will continue speaking to high school children in Germany.
Yes, that's very good. I know you're going to do that, and we're going to be talking about that. Maybe the best thing for us to do, because I was at an event where you talked to a number of fourth graders the other day. It was beautiful, the rapport and so forth.
I must tell you, I was thrilled. I was thrilled to see 105 youngsters.
9-year-olds,
9-year-olds, and
wasn't it beautiful?
And their behavior was just unbelievable.
Exemplary. They were feisty and everything, but they were also attentive and everything. It was a wonderful. What's the name of that institution? I forget.
It's a Central Synagogue.
57th Street.
55th.
55th Street. Yeah. It was very good. But anyway, share. Let us begin, if we could. Maybe the best way. We're going to show your book and that sort of thing. But share your own background. Born and raised. A little of your education.
I was born in a small village in Hungary, Baktal-Orantháza, and we had 149 Jewish people who lived in our village. And I believe that consisted of 40 families.
40 Jewish families.
Jewish families.
Right. And how many people lived in the village? And how many were there of you total? 150?
I believe it was 130.
And how many would have been in the village, not the people that weren't Jewish?
A few hundred.
A few hundred. So you might have been a third of the population?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, that's interesting. And that was Hungarian. That was Hungary.
Yes.
So the language in the home that you spoke, was it
Hungarian?
Was it Hungarian?
Yes.
Yiddish or no? Not Yiddish.
We didn't. No, we spoke Hungarian.
Hungarian in the family. Okay. And the family, as far as you could tell, had been there for a long time?
Oh, yes.
My
great-grandparents dated back to Hungary.
Well, so you were Hungarian.
Yes.
I'm always interested in Hungary because it's a very interesting country. It's very unique in terms of Europe. It's Euro-Altaic language. It's related to Finnish.
Yes.
And there's also a tremendous contribution of Hungarians to the intellectual advancement of human understanding. It's a very interesting. I've never been there, but I'm very impressed with it.
But you know, that's the irony. That as far as the intellectual, it's right up there.
Yes.
And for the life of us, we cannot understand why this horrible situation that goes on presently. It's beyond my.
Is your phone going on? You might want to just turn it off, maybe.
Beyond.
It's a nice tune. What tune does your ringtone play? Okay, you did it. You got it so you can turn it off. You figured it out. Yeah, wouldn't you say this horrible thing that goes on?
Well, unfortunately, I thought when I was liberated at the age of 15, I said to myself, thank God that the human race has really learned something. That such a thing will never happen. And here we are, 2011, and unfortunately,
still threatened.
And we are constantly being threatened around the globe. And one of the reasons
When you say we, are you talking about the Jewish people?
The Jewish people.
All right,
right.
Yeah.
One of the reasons that I have undertaken this mission to educate and talk to the present youth. My journey last year was so tremendous that I said to myself, as long as my health holds
You're
up.
in great shape, you know? Yeah.
That,
what year were you born, 1930?
1930.
So you got to be 81.
81.
81.
Yeah.
Well, you're looking great. You look like Fred Astaire in his prime.
So it's important, you know. I call this the healing process.
Okay, yeah.
It did a lot of wonderful things to me.
Yeah.
And I mentioned this to friends of mine, to politicians, and of course they're wishing me well.
Yeah.
I spoke to my dear friend today, Max Mannheimer.
Oh, you mentioned him in the talk.
Yes, who 91 years old.
Yeah.
91 years old.
Right. Yeah.
We were reunited last year after 65 years.
Now talk about who was he then?
Max Mannheimer is from Czechoslovakia.
Yeah.
His native tongue at the time was German.
Okay.
And we were in concentration camp.
Together,
and we were liberated together.
Wow. Wow. Really?
And so I don't have to tell you how emotional that was to me.
Yeah.
And the most beautiful thing, when I came to his house, he took out the shofar, which is for the high holidays to bring in the New Year.
Yes.
And that's how he welcomed me in his beautiful apartment.
Wonderful. Isn't that smart? Isn't that wonderful?
And I said to him, Max, where did you get this? He said, it was left in Birkenau, Auschwitz-Birkenau, on the train.
Birkenau?
That was part of Auschwitz.
Oh, that was a part of the Auschwitz?
Auschwitz is called Birkenau.
Okay, okay.
Was left on the train, and it was recovered by a Polish Christian lady who gave it to him.
Wow, isn't that beautiful?
And Max greets people who come to his house
with the shofar.
With the shofar.
That's
and I thought, you know, at the moment,
perfect, isn't it? Yeah.
At the moment when he did this, I said to myself, what a shame that we don't have a television broadcast here.
We should have everything on camera.
Right.
Everything. Yeah.
And of course, it was a very, very moving experience for me. You know, to share or.
And is he not also doing a good deal of educating? I mean, I got it from the talk yesterday.
Yes, for the past 25 years, he spoke 85,000 times.
85,000
times.
Are you sure that's not
I'm positive.
How could it be 85?
He is constantly on the go.
Yeah, okay.
And I mean constantly.
Yeah, Well, good for him. Where does he hold his? Is he in New York or where?
No. He lives in Germany.
In Germany.
The outside of Munich.
Outside Munich. You'll be seeing him in the summer.
No, we have already a reunion, which is going to be April 27th in this small town where I was shot, called Poing, P-O-I-N-G.
You and he?
We're having a memorial there, so I'm sure there'll be more people. And of course, I'm looking forward to be part of this ceremony after 66 years.
Wow, that is something else. I wonder if we go back to the Hungary thing. Was the family intellectual? Was he rabbi or what?
No, my father was my father. Unfortunately, I believe, of course I was 8 years old when he died.
I see, yeah.
Apparently he went into this cold water river, and from there on,
pneumonia?
I think he developed either or perhaps something else. I never did find out.
Natural cause?
Yeah, something natural. Yes. So he was a bit handicapped.
That would have been in 38.
Yes. So he walked with a stick.
Oh, okay. But he didn't die in 38.
But
Did he die in 1938?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Okay, he did die. Yeah.
Yeah, when I was 8 years old, he died.
And your mother?
My mother, of course, was taken to Auschwitz. My mother remarried. I had a stepfather, stepsister, and I had a sister.
And you had education there?
Yes.
Education?
Yes.
And you were born in 30, so when
I was born in 1930.
When did the occupation and whatever was being delivered down by that nonsense of the anti-Semitism of
Well, actually,
when did it come to be palpable?
Actually, in 1943, for some reason, they picked us out.
You're 13.
Yes.
Yeah.
That we are not citizens of Hungary.
No longer, yeah.
Which was kind of a crazy thing to me.
Yeah.
I said to myself, my great-grandfather was born in Hungary.
Right.
And they sent us to somewhere in the Ukraine. And the purpose of that, there was a river that they put you on a boat, and they opened the bottom, and this is how they used to kill.
And just let you drown in the river?
But luckily, when we got there, I think the Russians were advancing. And they did not want to have this unfavorable publicity, the Germans.
Help me. What year are you talking about?
1943.
43?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
And then we were sent back home.
And you you're 13, you were 12 the year before that. Had you become aware of the anti-Semitism? Had it affected your life? When did it begin to affect your life, when you noticed it and it became palpable to the people of your village of the Jewish persuasion?
When we returned to my hometown, from there on, every day there was something. You were able to see posters, dirty Jews. Why don't you go to Palestine? At that time, of course, you know, we had no Israel yet. They constantly told us to go to Palestine.
Yeah, but what I was asking you, if I could, is you were 13 then. You had been sent to the Ukraine, and you came back, and
right.
So there was that was absolute certainty. When did you first, or can you remember, were you 8, were you 7, 5, when the beginnings of the anti-Semitism nonsense was going to become relevant to you? Was it relevant to you as a very when you were very young? And how in the hell do we understand this thing, anti-Semitism?
Yeah, that's
a small little question we could answer in 30 seconds.
Yeah,
if you would, please.
That's something very difficult to grasp. At the age of 12, I no longer was sent to our, elementary Jewish school.
You had been in school?
Yes.
Okay. And your life had not been disrupted when you were 5 or 6 by the Nazi nonsense?
No, not at all.
When did it first come? Can you remember?
I would say, starting at the age of 10.
10?
Yes.
So 1940?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. He just conquered Paris.
Right.
Yeah, right. He was at his height. Very popular.
Very popular.
Yeah, right.
And of course, those that followed him, they were even worse than the Nazis themselves.
Really?
Yeah.
With them that followed him, what do you mean? I don't understand.
Well, all the countries that Hitler managed to occupy, their behavior was just horrible. They wanted to show.
Vis-a-vis the Jew particularly, you say?
No.
In general?
The Christians, they wanted to show, we can do a better job of destroying and killing the Jews than you German guys.
So it was endemic to the region.
Right.
Okay.
So I was sent to a Roman Catholic school at the age of 12.
12, okay.
And when they taught religion, the Jewish kids were excused, which was kind of, you know, there already.
Well, if I may, you're in that. What's the name of the village again?
Bonnagura.
That's a mouthful. That's
Yes.
good and everything. You said maybe a third were Jewish, and then there were the other people. And the other people in Hungary, in your village, or in those positions throughout the country of Hungary, had a dislike of Jewish. Or where, if you said the people that were conquered by or occupied by Hitler were worse than Hitler in terms of
yeah, you know, it's interesting.
Where does that come from?
It's interesting what you are asking me.
Yeah.
In Budapest,
Yes.
they did not feel as much as in the small villages.
Okay.
You see, the small villages
Yeah.
consisted of either Hasidim or Orthodox Jews.
Okay. Well, yours was a relatively small village.
Yes.
Yeah.
And of course, most of the Jews in our hometown, I would say they were Hasidim.
Well, Hasidim.
Yes.
Baltev.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So, but what I'm asking about the Hungarian population that was not Jewish.
Yes.
What percentage of the population of, say, Hungary was Jewish, do you think? Did you ever happen to, something you happen to know? 10% or?
No, we had approximately, I believe, maybe 900,000 Jews.
Out of how many?
10 million.
So you're about 10%
Yeah.
or 9%, something like that, okay?
Right.
And there was animosity by the Hungarian Christians or whatever
Well,
toward the Jews
yes.
that became manifest after Hitler occupied?
Exactly.
Okay, where did it come from? Why?
Well, you know, it was like a mushroom that they reacted to this, you know. Those that felt this animosity towards the Jews.
Yeah, right.
And of course it was sanctioned by the Nazi regime.
Yeah.
And of course...
that gave them the ability to let loose their own feeling.
Exactly.
I guess what I was trying to get at, I've never been able, I'm 76 now, and I've never been able to understand why anti-Semitism. I've never been able to understand it. Why would there be, what's not to like? That's what I'm getting at. What's not to like? Unless it's based on, you know, their intellectual contributions are so absolutely overwhelming.
Exactly.
They have a tremendous sense of justice, it seems to me. They're very interested all in social and affairs of the world. They're not, you know, like that. What is not to like? And why has there
suppose
been, I mean, where does anti-Semitism, I can't understand where it comes from. Maybe because, I think I suggest to you on the telephone, it might be part of a broader thing. We used to have a political party in the United States. It was called the Know Nothing Party. They seem to celebrate being dumb or ignorant or having a strong brief against intelligence.
Yeah.
Do you understand? It's an anti-intellectual. Is it part of an anti-intellectual prejudice by dumb people? Or where does that come from?
I think you are right, by dumb people.
Okay.
By dumb people. You know, the Jews of Hungary, they have added so much to commerce. I mean, it's...
yes, I mean, to every field.
Every field.
Yeah.
And perhaps that could have been also jealousy.
Maybe a jealousy.
Yeah. I mean, but I think today, I think we live in an era that people are a bit more sophisticated.
Well, one would hope we have more communication.
And I should hope that we are more accepted.
Who?
You know, the Jews.
Accepted, my God. I can't imagine a world without them. I live in New York. I mean, you know, where would we get by? We'd have no cream cheese. We'd have none of the good things, you know, and everything. But no, I've never been able to understand it. It's some sort of thing about the religious, about the Christ killers or something. or there was this question of usury, because they were ones who introduced or got around the prescription against usury, or I've never been able. What was it? A personal thing with Hitler? Did he have some young lady who refused him, or something that got to such insanity?
Well,
I guess you don't have the answer for that.
Well, I guess you must have seen on the History Channel. He had syphilis.
Hitler?
For years.
Did he? Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if that went to his brain.
Something personal can get to an individual.
Right.
But you're telling me also that the broader population of Europe had nascent, maybe not directly developed, that he gave license to just demonstrate an anti-Semitic attitude when he made it legitimate, seeming by his action, if I'm right. And so it seemed to be, you know, anti-Semitic. We even had it here in the United States.
Yeah, of course. Once you leave New York City, of course you will encounter, when you travel, you know, a Jew is something
to be treasured, if you ask me. I can't find it. They're always welcoming. I mean, anyway, it's a thing. I'm sorry you had to suffer so, and so many of your fellow citizens suffered. You came back from the Ukraine, and then you were only 13 or so.
Right.
That would have been 1943, getting on in the wartime in that. And then you were actually taken to...
in 1944.
In 44.
44, in April. We were taken to a ghetto called Kisvárda.
In Hungary?
In Hungary, and from there we were sent to Auschwitz.
You were sent to, that was just a station where you
where they gathered
you there.
Gathered the Jews.
And then you were sent, did you know you were going to Auschwitz?
We had no idea.
You did not know where you were. What happened up in Germany? I mean, up in Russia. You had been sent to Russia earlier when you were 13 or something?
Yeah, but we were sent back because the Russians were advancing.
Oh, and the Russian army.
Yes, and the...
That's right, it's in the war, yeah.
And the Germans didn't want this unfavorable publicity for them because everything was hidden.
Yeah.
So when we left the ghetto, we had no idea where we were going, but we were told the family will stay together, we're going to have our own little apartment, we're going to get jobs, and we're going to live a normal life.
That's what they told you?
That's what they told us.
And you sent you to Auschwitz?
Yes.
Were you aware of Auschwitz? Had a word gotten around?
I never.
It was just out of the blue to you?
Yes. Well, you know, the Germans kept this very secret.
The existence of
The existence of Auschwitz, right.
And Dachau and the others.
Exactly.
They were work camps, or were they were called work camps?
Yeah, well, of course.
Were they trying to wring work out of you for the war effort?
Oh, yes, definitely.
And was that part of what the foundation of them were? Was the final solution built in from the beginning in 1939 that we're going to wipe people out massively?
Right.
Was it? It was part of their ideology?
Yes, part of the ideology.
Something insane.
Yeah.
The Palestine issue, or the Zionist movement, was... I understand their flag was able to be flown, the flag of David, in Germany.
Yes.
Because they wanted the Germans, they favored, and the Zionists, and when you got liberated, you were thinking you'd like to come to America, but you couldn't do it. They only wanted you to go to Palestine.
Right.
Was that something you were aware of?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. My father had 3 brothers and 3 sisters living in the U.S. And of course my dream was always to come to the U.S. As a matter of fact, my father passed away. There was talk that they're going to send me to the U.S. To my...
We're getting ahead. That's after you get out of the camps and everything.
No. When I was 8 years old.
Oh,
when my father passed away.
Oh, I see.
My mother was talking to relatives.
Let them go to America.
That perhaps.
Where in America did they live?
Well, I had my uncle. Two of my uncles lived in L.A., and the rest of them were in Brooklyn, New York.
There you go.
Yeah.
Were they in the movie business, maybe, or no?
Well, as I mentioned to you, Tony Curtis is a relative.
Tony Curtis, the famous, that's right, he was a cousin, right?
Yeah.
He was a cousin, right?
Yes.
He was a really good actor, very good.
And he did a lot of wonderful things for the Dohain Street Synagogue,
Okay.
which I was part of.
Is that Brooklyn? No, Dohain.
No, in Budapest.
In Budapest, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I had a printing company, and I did all the promotion material to raise money. And he raised $10 million to rebuild this magnificent synagogue.
That would have been in what, in the 50s, 60s, or 70s, or when?
No, in the 70s.
70s, okay, yeah, that's good. But so, tell me, they put you in a train, and then you went directly to Auschwitz?
Yes.
Can you remember it?
Oh, sure.
You were 14.
Well, it was a horrible journey. You know, we were crushed into these wagons, no sanitation.
Good grief.
And children and crying, and then we had some unfortunate people, you know, who were sick and disabled, and they were crying, and I said to my poor mom.
She was with you?
Sure.
Yeah, the whole family?
Yeah, my baby sister, my sister, and my stepfather.
What had happened to all your belongings and everything? Your home, you had a home.
We had to leave everything behind. Everything. They let you take as much as you can carry.
Was there any, did it happen overnight? Did it happen over a fortnight or a couple of weeks, or what? That process that wrenched you from your home and everything like that?
Well,
it's hard to fathom.
My mother was very friendly with the postmaster who lived across from us, and they tipped her off that we are going to be taken in the next day or two.
Wow.
And of course, unfortunately, that came true. And of course, all the Jewish storekeepers, they left their facilities open, and we were able to roam from store to store and take whatever we needed. You know, it was like a free-for-all.
Yeah.
I mean, for a young kid like myself, you know, I had such a mixed feeling about it.
Of course.
I said, my gosh, I can just walk into any store and take anything, you know, clothing
like
and food and whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it was really, you know, a feeling of sorrow.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
No, wrenching.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just incredible. It's so awful. And then you were there. How long were you there? And could you? What was your? Do you remember the day you arrived? And it must have been
in May.
Shocking belief, beyond belief.
Yeah. Well, I.
It was a work camp. Were you given?
No. In Auschwitz, we did not work. I was in Auschwitz for approximately 10 days.
Only. Okay.
Only. And from there, of course. They selected people who were in conditions for all types of work. And,
but then they sent you somewhere else.
But I was not assigned for that. They sent me...
by accident?
No. To be with the kids.
To be with kids, to teach?
No, with the kids.
Because you were young.
Yeah, those kids were all killed.
Really?
Yeah.
You were set in among the kids that were all killed?
All killed.
They were killed?
Yeah. For some reason, I always had this...
Feisty.
Unexpected...
You were
difficult to really think about it. But when I came into this kids camp there,
This is a part of Auschwitz?
Auschwitz, yeah, in Auschwitz.
Yeah.
I could not believe how these kids were laughing and playing. I said to myself, something is wrong.
Well, did they have any indication?
They were there already
was
for a number of weeks.
They were what?
They were there for a few weeks.
Okay, yeah.
And I, of course, was a newcomer.
Right. Yeah.
So I went to a corner and I was crying.
Yeah, right.
And I sensed that for me to be here, there's something is wrong.
Something's wrong.
Right. But we had access to walk from barrack to barrack in Auschwitz. And my best friend's brother, who was 5 years older than I was, I went to him and I said to him, Sander, do you mind if I go with you? He says, come.
Who? A sender?
Sander Gross.
Oh, friend,
Yeah,
a person. Oh, you got some paper. We want to show them, and why don't I, while you're getting Sander Gross, maybe I could hold this up. I'll let them know about this, okay? Let them know. Find Sander if you can.
Yeah, this is...
which is the best one to get it on? Josh, which is the best camera? Is it... Which one do we get it on? Oh, it's not robotic? This is the book of his experience, and it was published in Danish, and it's about to come out in English any day now, right?
Yes.
This is a book that has, what's the title of it there, please?
Living Through Hell.
Living Through Hell, and it's got pictures, and so forth. It's got pictures in the book, and this was very, very prominently displayed all over Denmark and sold very, very well. And while he's finding a picture of, did you find Sander?
No, you can show this. When my book came out,
here you can show this.
And this was
the bookstore in Denmark with the whole window filled with this book. And here's another one that shows the fact that it was so very well received and so well distributed in Denmark. And now it's going to be coming out in English any day or week now. And so that's good to know. And he's looking for that. He's got so many pictures that he's brought with him. But we did want to let him know. And also, he's going to be leaving to go to Germany within a week or so of this taping. And he's going to be going to participate in a documentary being made about your life. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
By Bavarian Television in Germany. And he's been going to Germany to make... we're going to try and get to it. In the more recent experience, he's come into a position where he's letting a lot of his feelings become sharing it with a great number of people in Germany and other places, which is very interesting in and of itself.
Yeah.
You found him?
So here is Sander.
Here's Sander.
Yeah.
And who was Sander then?
Sander is the one that I am living today.
He's living?
No, because of him that I'm alive.
We're back there. You were crying with all those kids in that place.
Right, and I asked him, can I go with him? Now, here is a Julius Newman, who was with the Liberating Force, lives in Buffalo. We visited him many times. Unfortunately, he passed away. And he was the one who liberated Sander.
Okay, now, I didn't quite get it straight. You were there, you were new, you were crying, you were in among young men. They were laughing and carrying on, but they were marked for death.
Right.
You knew they were marked for death?
Yes.
Did you know that? Did they know that?
Well, you know, those who were there, who were doing all this dirty work, and of course they themselves were killed.
Collaborating with trying to survive.
Right.
It must have been
It's terrible.
awfully compromising way to have to be treated.
You know, you lost all your humanity. There was
you lose all humanity.
Completely. You know, when I saw someone sick or dead or whatever, there was absolute no feeling.
Empathy. No empathy.
You were concerned about
only with yourself.
Right.
And that was universal, more
universal, right.
What happened that all those people, those young men that you were among, were killed, you were not?
Well,
because you're still here.
Right.
Yeah.
Not only that, but to being shot, the bullet went in my neck.
What bullet? We haven't heard about the bullet.
And came out on my cheek.
The bullet that was meant to kill you did not work.
Yeah.
It did not
No. This was 2 days before liberation.
Before liberation?
2 days before.
I'm a little confused. You were in Auschwitz for 10 days only? You were with those young men in Auschwitz? And
yes.
that was in 1940?
44.
44?
Yes.
And you were only there for that brief period, and you were put there, and they were going to be, they were all killed by rifle fire or something?
No. Crematorium.
Crematorium?
No.
And what happened that you were shot? No,
this was from Auschwitz. I went to Dachau.
Oh, okay, it's different.
And from Dachau, we were also sent to a work camp, which is all nearby, you know, near Munich. And from there, I was sent to another camp. And when it came towards the end of the war, they shipped us constantly away from the liberating force. They didn't want us to be captured by the US or the Russian army.
Why?
Well, they thought that if they ship us and whatever the intention they had, you know, of murdering us, or perhaps they still thought that they might still win the war.
It would be amazing that they would take all that attention, use train power and so forth, when they could have supplied Stalingrad with military might, but they were taking the trouble. The prejudice ran so deep.
Oh, yes.
And it's really hard to fathom. And you ran away or something and were shot?
No, we came to this small town where the train stopped, and the SS removed their uniform, and they changed into civilian clothes, and they waved to us, "You are all free." So you can imagine how we felt.
You believe that?
Well, sure.
Yeah.
They took off.
And?
And we were mostly Hungarian Jews, 3,500.
Wow. In a field or something?
In these cattle car.
You're still in the cars?
Yeah. And so you can imagine, filthy, hungry.
Well, why didn't they open the doors? If you're supposed to be free, they'd open the doors.
No, they opened the door.
Oh, okay. You could go out into the field or something.
Right. So I got together with 2 other fellows, and I said to them, you know, it's a small little village here. Let's look for somewhere that maybe we can get something to eat.
Yeah, I would think.
Yeah,
yes.
So I went into this farmhouse, and this wonderful lady
gave you bread.
When she looked at me, religious woman, had the crucifix on the wall, and she even prayed when she saw me. And says, what a kid like you.
Yeah.
So she gave me a delicious piece of bread
with butter.
With butter and a glass of milk.
Milk. Yeah.
And then I hear in German in the back, "Hands up." I said to myself, wow.
Behind you.
Yeah. I says, I guess this is the end of me. I came so far, and now I have to die.
And it was in your mind that that was what the fate you were facing when you were on that train and everything like that?
Sure.
What else? Go on, yeah.
So as a kid,
Yes.
for a short distance,
Yes.
in my class I was the fastest runner.
Okay.
And I said to myself, don't ask me how the heck I was able to jump over this fence.
You jump, yeah.
I mean, when I think about it, I would love to see a video
Wouldn't it be
replay.
good to have it? Well, look, what you're going to have to do is go there and jump over that fence for the video.
No, it's all gone.
Yeah, I know.
The farm was sold
Yeah, it's
for
also,
millions.
we couldn't probably jump over
Millions
the
of
fence.
dollars,
Yeah.
and they built apartment houses.
Yeah.
And so I started running, and he kept hollering, stop, stop. And finally he got me.
He shot you.
Shot me.
From-
The bullets went in my neck, came out on my cheek.
You still have a thing there.
Oh, yeah.
You still have a thing. Yeah, you have a
Yeah.
scar there, yeah. It was a bullet, it was a like a rifle shot?
pistol.
Oh, pistol.
Yeah.
And what happened? Did you fall down?
I fall down, and he came and he was holding his pistol. He says, I see you still moving. Either you get up, or I have to give you another bullet. I says, I'll get up. I got up, and they dragged me back to the train. And while going back, 200 people were wounded, 50 killed.
Ah.
And I was seeing this as we walked back to the train.
Oh my God.
Some of them with bayonets, their belly opened. And no reaction.
No reaction.
I had no reaction.
You had no reaction.
Absolute none.
Because it was just, you'd been so dehumanized.
I mean, it's,
the-
you know, when I think about
Yeah,
it,
yeah.
how does a kid
Yeah.
facing such a thing, you know, as to see people left and right.
Right.
And they put me back in the train. My hometown friend, his name was Roth, he got a bullet in his belly and he died midnight. And for me to swallow, you know, my survivor, it was so painful because of this wound. And we traveled like that for 2 days
On that train with that wound?
anything.
Yeah.
And huge lice
Yeah.
eating on my open wound.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Impossible.
And then finally, we came to this town called Tutzing. It's a magnificent area. It's the Steinberger See, it's called, that area. And finally, we see the American tanks rolling along. I said, my gosh.
This is when you had been shot?
Yeah, then we came to this town, Tutzing, and we stopped. You know, we never knew what the heck was going on.
Right.
And, you know, it was a great joy for me. Suddenly we're seeing American tanks rolling. And
You were aware of what was going on with the war? You had been in camp?
right,
I got a little confused. You were in Auschwitz 10 days, you said. And then you went to another one?
yes, and I was in these war camps, you know,
Dachau?
Dachau and Allach and Mühldorf.
The first one was Auschwitz.
Yeah.
That was 10 days and
Right.
you went on.
Right.
And that was when you agreed with those young men and you
Right.
cried and everything that you were inside.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the suffering was when you're in the work camps.
Right.
And the thing with the gun was at the end of that process.
Right,
And you were about to be liberated
right.
by the American forces.
Right.
You were aware of the American forces.
Oh, yeah.
Or were you so isolated
no,
from the
no,
world?
no.
You didn't know war was going
No,
on?
you
or
see,
how
that-
isolated could you be, you know?
No, you see, that much I understood.
Yeah.
That when the SS
Yeah.
took off their uniform, I knew that the Americans were advancing.
Ah, I see.
Yeah,
Oh, I see. Okay. And that was a sign that the
Right.
jig was up.
Right.
Yeah.
and of course, you know, I was hungry. There was nothing,
Yeah, food,
nothing to eat,
Yeah.
and like a young kid, instead of going to a hospital, I went into town, hoping to get something. But they themselves had nothing.
Yeah, right.
You know?
Yeah, yeah, it's horrible.
And my father's friend, the physician, saw me. He says, immediately get into a hospital. So they took me to the hospital. This was only for wounded. Meanwhile, I developed typhus.
Yeah.
And typhus is very contagious. And they had to move me to, this was already the American military ambulance who took me to this other place. And there, of course, my wound healed somewhat, and my mouth was completely disfigured. And he came to see me, my father's friend, and he said to me, "You need an operation." I says, "No, I don't want to go. I don't want to go to any hospital anymore." He says, "No, you must. The girls will not look at you."
Yes, right.
And I said, "Who cares about the girls?" But of course, they did do the operation. A very high-ranking SS physician who did the operation, and
you're the handsome fellow you are today.
And I was the only Jew in this facility, and the amputees, the SS amputees, still in uniform, they were downstairs, and they would, that's all I would hear from them. Umschuldig.
What's that mean?
Meaning I am not guilty or not responsible. That's all I, of course it didn't make sense to me.
What a thing. We got to get down, because you finally got a letter also, you were there, and there was a letter from New York. You wanted, not from New York, but from LA, I think. You wanted to go to America. It came, it was like liberation, and you came to America. You would have, they wanted you to go to Palestine.
Yes.
You wanted to go to America.
Well, actually, it was England who was fighting for this. They said, we'll take in all the youth. And of course, at that time, they didn't want to hear of such a thing. And as you know, many of them did go to Palestine, and they had some, you know, the motion picture Exodus, and which was very.
What they're going to do, I want to know who has the option on the feature film of your life. Is it Spielberg?
No,
Are they arguing on who gets the option? Are you making some good deals?
No, as a matter of fact, I have a filmmaker in Germany.
Good, that's good.
And I met this beautiful actress here in Lincoln Center.
Let me hold up. If you get it in tight, if you can, I'm not sure. Can you do it on one of the robotic cameras? Let me see if we can get it. I'm not sure which one's robotic.
Yeah, her name is Veronica Ferres.
Yes, okay.
She's one of the leading actresses in Germany.
Right.
And
okay, we can't seem to get it on. There, it's on this camera a little bit. Okay. Yeah, she's a leading actress in Germany. And what's happening? Is this part of the documentary film?
No,
or a
no. This would be a feature.
Now, let's get it straight. You are going back to Germany now. You'll be there for some months, and that's to be involved in the creation of a feature film. Of a documentary film. It's going to be carried on Bavarian television, national television. I mean, there is some public television. That's a major thing. But there's also another thing in the works, a feature film about your life.
Yes.
She's involved with that?
Yeah, hopefully.
In what way? What role?
Well, we have a role for her.
You have a role for her. A screenplay's been written. Everything's been doing.
Yeah, it's being written.
It's being written. It has not been written. Did you help put it together from your diary work and everything?
Yes, his name is Martin Otter. O-T-T-E-R.
Oh, okay, Josh. Maybe you can bring it in. This is a young lady who's going to be. She's got a role in the film. If they got a young man that could play you, is it going to be you in that age of 13, 14 years old?
Yeah,
the feature film?
Yes.
And is it done, or is it a done deal?
Not yet.
It's in development.
Developed.
That would be a very interesting thing to do for that. And you're working some on that.
Yes.
Then you're going to be going to Germany. You gave a magnificent presentation to 9-year-old children the other day that was just inspiring to me. It was beautiful.
Yeah.
The whole setting was. And you're going to be doing that in Germany. You're going to be going to Germany now, just within a week or so. What's that about? And then also we want to get back to some of the reflections on how do we deal with such a thing in broad terms, the humanity, deal with such inhumanity when it expresses itself? What can we make of it? How can we heal? What are the lessons we can learn? And what are your thoughts on some of those issues, having suffered it and having lived through all this?
You know, perhaps I am naive, but somehow I firmly believe that I have really added my share by seeing all these wonderful high school kids, that perhaps something wonderful might come out of this.
You mean you're talking about high school because you've met with in Germany?
Yes.
You've been there before.
Oh yes.
And you've done a great deal of this.
I have been to 17 high schools.
17 high schools.
Yes.
Over what period did you begin to
In 6 months.
In 6? No. Was it over the last year or two, or was it over the last 10 years?
No. Last year. Everything last year.
So it's sort of coming at this time. You've had a sort of change in terms of your consciousness or something.
Yes.
Which is maybe worth sharing.
Yes. And the German media, I tell you, I had so much publicity that the Consul General, the German Consul General here in New York, asked me who was my public relation. They
could have got David Finn, maybe.
They were fascinated.
But you've been doing that in Germany, and you're going back and doing more of that, as well as working on this documentary film.
I also would like to mention Raoul Wallenberg.
Okay, a musical drama, the Hilton Theater.
Yeah, who saved 100,000 Jews.
Well, okay, this is a flyer for a presentation. It was a thing at the Hidden Theater Studios. Okay, the Wallenberg musical drama.
Yes.
That was something done in 1909, apparently.
Yes.
Okay. And is that got to do with your experience or the experience over?
I was helping them.
You were helping in an advisory sense.
Yes, and at the Hungarian consulate here in New York, I spoke to a gentleman by the name of Victor Polgar, who was ambassador and consul general, and I said to him, Mr. Polgar, I think this is an important thing as far as the Jews of Budapest are concerned, that we show this performance at the consulate.
Oh, and did they?
And they did, and it was standing room only.
Okay, that was 2009. How have you had, it's a long time since it's a long way to 1945. And you've lived a life there. Have you had a change in your thoughts, your recollections, your consciousness of your experience, and also how you want to relate to the world? Have you had a change recently, as I understand, in terms of your consciousness and your, in a certain sense, coming out and communicating with people in a way that's worthy of our talking about now?
Yeah, well, of course, as I mentioned to you, everything came last year.
Everything came last year?
After 65 years.
Yes, sir.
I mean, it's...
What could you share? What do you mean, everything came? You had an epiphany, or you had a breakthrough, or what?
Well, you know, this Poing, where I'm going to be on the 27th, when I returned after the war, I was very anxious to say her daughter.
Met her daughter. Yeah. The woman.
Yeah, I'm going to show you the picture.
Okay, we got to go. Yeah, go ahead.
And this is the lady while I was in concentration camp.
Here, how do we show this? Where can we show it, Josh? He has to run out here to show it. Or can you work the camera, Larry? Can you work it to bring it in tight focus? Here. Okay. Okay. Who is this lady now?
She's the one that used to give me a piece of bread.
Is this the woman who gave you the bread and the milk?
No. She's the one when I was in the concentration camp, and she would take her bike and see me there.
Oh, that was another woman.
Yeah, her name, she passed away. Her name is Agnes Riesch.
Okay. That's it, the bread. Who is the gentleman?
That's me.
Oh, that's you. I see. That's some time ago. You've been on this for quite a while then. Okay, that's different. Okay.
And this was in the German, one of the German newspaper.
This is a newspaper account of this. And I'm glad to hear that they've got a feature film in the works, and also your book will be coming. When will the book be coming out in English?
When I'll come back this year.
It'll be sort of maybe September this year, 2011?
Now, this is the mayor of the town.
Okay, we got to show
and
this
it reads
to the camera.
My children must read this.
You can't get it, Josh?
Oh, there it is, regarding my book.
There. You can't do everything, huh? Mein Kinder must read this lesson, is that what it says?
No, my book.
My book. Okay, and that was your book.
Right.
It's come out in German? No, it's in
yes.
Danish.
No,
it's
no,
in German.
In German.
In German.
Yeah.
Is it sold well in Germany?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And this is when I was in Dachau visiting this lady in 1972.
Here's 1972. You're much younger. You had more hair.
And
you had more hair.
And this is
it was all dark.
This is when I arrived.
Yeah. And this is at Dachau, or coming to Dachau, right? Okay. Boy, he's got a whole thing. I see you got yourself.
No, this is Chuck Sullivan, the former owner of the New England Patriots. This is Harvey Schiller.
Okay, let me hold it up so they can see it. You point to it with your finger.
And that's the...
That camera's doing it. You got to get a sense of where you are in the camera. You got to point to this picture, but that's the camera over there. You see? So point with your finger.
Yeah, and this is the ambassador.
Oh, they can't seem to get it.
No?
We're trying to get it. Okay, this is... You had a picture of Mr. Spitzer, too. Right?
Now, here is the Palm Beach Post.
Here's the Palm Beach Post. He's got a place in Florida. I don't understand what's happening with these cameras. What camera are we on? Is this on the camera? Well, they're having a little bit difficulty with the camera. They're not showing this as well as they could. And we ought to try to get this editing done later. You've got a lot of things.
Now here, this is a must. This is when I was in Dachau.
That's your list?
They interviewed me for the archives.
For the archives, okay.
And this is what was given me, and my name is here.
Okay. Well, listen. One of the problems with television, this is so interesting. We got to do some editing of all this together after the fact. But we've come to the end of the hour. I'm sorry, we run out of time. So thank you very much for coming in and sharing this with you. All the best in your efforts to try and address the issues that are involved and so forth. And thank you very, very much for coming.